Hey, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and today I'm giving a series preview for the AL Wildcard Series, Astros versus Twins. I'm going to go over the three starters for both teams for this series, assuming it gets to a third game. And I'm also going to talk about the keys the Astros will need to sort of focus on if we want to continue into the playoffs after the first round. Starting with the Game 1 starters, it's going to be Kenta Maeda starting for the Twins and Zack Greinke on the mound for the Astros. This is a game that I think we are probably going to lose, but I'm going to say that's okay, because truthfully, the way I see it playing out is we lose the first game and then win the second and third, and I'll get into that when I talk about the pitchers. But the first game, the starting pitchers is Kenta Maeda, like I said, and Zack Greinke. Maeda had a career year this year. He was really incredible, and not just for a personal best, but really for a league. He was a very, very good pitcher this year. I believe he set the record for whip in a season with a whip at .750. That is very, very good, obviously, because I think that set the record. Granted, that was over a season where I believe Pedro Martinez threw 250 plus innings, whereas Kenta Maeda only had to do it for 66. But that's still a very big achievement. Greinke's, for reference, is at 1.134, which that's not great, but it's also not like terrible. It's right in that okay range. Greinke had an okay year, which is not an indictment because we had a couple of other pitchers that stepped up to take that place. Kenta Maeda also led Greinke in ERA with a 2.70. You would not believe how hard it's been to record this video. Greinke had a 4.03. Again, not terrible, but not great. Not where Greinke normally is. Greinke did lead him in innings pitched with 67 opposed to 66 and 2/3, so it was very close. But when it comes to ERA+, which is one of my personal favorite statistics, it's nowhere even close. Kenta Maeda had a 161, and Greinke had a 111. Now, if you don't know what ERA+ is, I think I've talked about it in the past, but just a quick refresher, that is time adjusted, so any point in period you played in, ballpark adjusted, and league adjusted. So it basically just takes all of your statistics and puts it out in a nice, easy to digest number, where 100 is average. And anything over 160 is probably going to land you in Cy Young conversations. At least it would if it weren't for Shane Bieber for Kenta Maeda. And yeah, that's the way the statistic works. So I'm not an expert with it, but I really like the statistic. He led him in that. He led him in Case. He had 80 to Zack Greinke 69, or 67, But that being said, Greinke has never been a strikeout guy. He's a get ground outs, get pop outs, get out guy. So I'm not going to fault him for that. And then when it comes to walks, Greinke edges him out with 9 to Kenta Maeda's 10. Again, like I said, I think this is a game the Astros probably lose, but I'm not really mad about that because the next two games I think we can take the edge. Game 2, presumably. The Astros have not announced the starters for Game 2 and 3. They only announced Greinke, and I am assuming this is who we start in Games 2 and 3. Keep that in mind. Now, if I'm wrong, well, shucky darns, I'm sorry. But this is who I believe will be starting. We might start McCullers in Game 3, but if we do, I'll make a McCullers video like after I recap Game 1 and 2. So, starting in Game 2, presumably it's going to be Jose Berrios for the Twins and Framber Valdez for the Astros. Framber Valdez, who has had a career year. Unlike the last one, Framber Valdez pretty much leads him in every statistic. Valdez's whip is better at 1.118. Berrios had a 1.317. Sorry, I gotta read it to make sure I'm correct here. He also led him in ERA with a 3.57 opposed to a 4.00 for Berrios. Innings pitched, he also led with a 70.2 opposed to 63 innings total. He also led him in ERA plus with a 126 opposed to a 109. He led him in Ks with 76 to 68. And he led him in walks with 16 opposed to 26. Like I said, I think this is a game the Astros will probably win. Framber Valdez has been very good, and I think he gets the dub here to tie the series up, in my prediction. And then starting Game 3, it's going to be Michael Pineda. I'm going to go with Michael Pineda, and Christian Javier. I'm guessing it might be Lance McCullers, and if it is, I'm sorry, I'll correct that later on. And this is the game, again, that I think we win. Christian Javier leads him in most statistics. He leads him in whip. Christian Javier has a .994. Pineda has a 12 even. Pineda does lead him in ERA with a 3.38 opposed to Javier's 3.48, but that's not a huge differential. But here's the kicker. Pineda has only started 5 games this year, opposed to Christian Javier. I believe he has started 11. So when you look at innings pitched, it's not close. It's 54.1 to 26 and 2/3. So it's not close in that department. ERA plus, they're basically at a dead even pace. 129 for Javier and 130 for Pineda. But again, that's only over a 5-inning season or a 5-start season opposed to an 11. So again, I'm probably going to give a slight edge to Christian Javier. And then if you look at strikeouts, again, it's not particularly close. It is 54 for Javier and 25 for Pineda. Walks, it's a little murky because he started essentially a little bit less than half the game, so he has 7 and Javier has 18. It's pretty close. Like, if you want to say, oh, just double his numbers and then add 2, then it's almost identical, because that would put him at 16, like, assuming, if you just doubled it, and you know what I mean. Now, like I said, I think we win game 2 and 3, but I think we drop the first game. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we can pull this series out. And the reasons I think we can pull this out, I'm going to talk about the pros going into this that I think we can potentially have the edge in. First off, we have been to the postseason a lot. We have, again, he's not been great during the regular season, and granted he's never won a World Series, but we have one of the most postseason veteran managers of all time. And while I have critiqued Dusty Baker a lot this season, I do want to give him till about the All-Star break of next year before I fully make a decision on him, because this has been a weird year, and we can all agree on that this has been a weird, crazy, messed up, kooky year. But we have a veteran manager who's been to the playoffs a lot. We also have a veteran lineup who's been to the playoffs a lot. Altuve has made a bunch of playoff starts, so has Bregman, Correa, Springer, Yuli. Brantley has made them. Reddick's made a lot of them. Maldonado has been there for the past 2 postseason runs with the Astros. We have a veteran lineup who know how to do it in the playoffs. Zach Greinke also qualifies as this. We have the advantage when it comes to playoffs. The Twins, for their credit, are somewhat of a younger team that doesn't have a ton of postseason experience. Their postseason last year was getting daddy smacked by the Yankees. No offense, Twins. I think you have a good team. But that did not go well for them last year. I believe they got swept by the Yankees. And so I think that plays into our favor. What also plays into our favor, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we have the second best bullpen ERA in the league. And I looked up the statistics today because I wanted to get their bullpen opposed to ours. We have the second best bullpen ERA. I don't know how it's possible, but it sure is. The Twins bullpen ranks 10th, which that is still a very good bullpen. But it's almost a half a run per game, or half a run ERA difference between their bullpen, and ours. So I think one of the keys is going to be getting to that bullpen. Again, like I said, Kenta Maeda has a very good ERA. If we want to win game 1, knocking him out potentially early and getting to that bullpen, and I'm not even saying we have to run the score up on him, but battling in counts, getting a lot of pitches thrown from him, just fouling them back, longer at bats, even if they don't end in runs or hits or walks. 9 pitch at bats, 10 pitch at bats, 8 pitch at bats, that's going to run up his score, or that's going to run up his pitch number and could knock him out faster. Winning is not always scoring runs off him. We don't have to succeed against Kenta Maeda by scoring 3 or 4 runs. Winning against Kenta Maeda would just be knocking him out in, say, the 4th or 5th inning, and then making their bullpen have to carry it for a couple games. That could be huge. We have to carry over some of the fire that we have with our bats. I know we've been losing a lot recently, but a lot of our bats have sort of started to wake up. We've been getting a lot of hits. I think we lost yesterday with 11 hits on the board. Let me check this real quick. We lost the past 2 games with 7 and 8 hits respectively. Look, we've been putting runners on base. We've been doing that well. Altuve over the past 4 games, has had 3 2-hit games, including 2 home runs. And yesterday, I believe he went, Sunday, I think he went 2 for 2 with a walk and a home run. If we can get that Altuve, that would be huge. If we can get Bregman, who is starting to heat up, he hit a couple of home runs in the Texas series. That'd be big. Correa from the Texas series. That'd be big. And then Springer in the month of September has lit it up. Springer, I'm gonna read his triple slash real quick because it's incredible. A 316 batting average, a 380 on base, and a 653 slugging, bringing his OPS to a 1.033. That is fantastic. If we get that George Springer, we could go a little bit. He also hit 9 home runs in the month of September. He only hit 5 in the previous couple months. So if we can carry that kind of stuff over, that could really help us. It's also going to help if our bullpen can continue to be the second best ERA in the league. That's going to be huge. If our rookies don't get shaken, I mean this in the best possible way, we are going to go as far as our rookies will let us go. If our rookies get shaken and look like they don't know how to pitch in big situations, that could be a problem. But if we just compose ourselves, go out with our game faces on, and act like we've been there, that could be a massive help. What I think could be a problem with this series is that it's going to be 3 straight days, and they're all going to be in Minnesota. A very cold climate for the Astros that we are not used to. We are used to pitching in hot places like Texas, California. Going into a place like Minnesota could be a bit of an issue, especially since it's starting to get a bit colder. It's not super cold, but I think it's around maybe in the high, or like in the low 70s, high 60s. Which again, that's not particularly cold, but cold for Texas boys. We gotta focus on getting to the bullpen because they don't have the best bullpen, but it is quite a bit worse than the starting pitching, so if we can get to that quickly, and we can carry the fire over and make smart decisions, specifically by Dusty Baker. That's what it's ultimately going to be on. Can Dusty make the right decisions, and can we act like we've been there before with our bullpen? I think our offense can do enough because we've been there a lot, and this is the nice thing about this is even though we're 29-31 for the regular season, starting tonight at midnight, we're 0-0. We get a completely fresh slate. All the batting averages, gone. OPS, gone. On base, gone. Home run totals, gone. Everything else is gone. We are starting fresh. We can take a deep breath and say, all right, we have to show people we got to prove them wrong. And that is why I think we will probably win this series. On paper, like if you looked at this matchup last year on paper, even if you took out who we don't have, I still think the majority of people would say, probably the Astros. But we just got to focus on what we have. If we can get decent starts from Valdez and Javier and maybe even from Greinke, we might be able to pull this off. If we can win Game 1, I don't want to say it's a guarantee, but if we can somehow win Game 1, I would feel incredibly confident. But I don't love the idea of having to win 2 games back-to-back in elimination. By the way, how crazy is it that we're having a series where after Game 1 it's immediately elimination? That's insane to me. But if we can win Game 1, I don't want to say, winning Game 1 is the key, because I think everyone likes to say that. But if we can win Game 1, I'm very confident in our starters for Game 2 and 3. So if we do take Game 1, I'd feel a whole lot more confident. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. The game starts tomorrow at, I believe, 1 o'clock Central Time, which, love that. I love that most people are probably not going to be able to watch the game. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Stros.